What is up, you guys? So in this video we're going to be talking about the 2020 Honda Pilot. But a little bit of background on the Pilot. It is currently Honda's biggest SUV that they still offer today. But in terms of the Pilot, it is a mid-sized SUV that competes with the likes of the Toyota Highlander, Nissan Pathfinder, and even the best sellers from the Korean brands such as the Hyundai Palisade and the Kia Telluride. But in case you didn't realize, this isn't just any Honda Pilot, this is the top of the line Black Edition. But without further ado, let's see what makes this particular Honda Pilot very special. But first, let's mention all the trim levels that we have on the Pilot. So starting off is the base trim level LX, which starts at $32,250, followed by the EX, which starts at $34,930, then the EXL, which starts at $38,360, then the Special Edition, which starts at $38,960, then the Touring, which starts at $42,920, then the Elite trim level, which starts at $48,420, and then finally the Black Edition, which tops out at $49,920. So starting off in the front, if you've already seen a regular Pilot, you could probably already tell the difference, and that is the color of the grille. So this Black Edition has a blacked out front grille, while all the other trims will have the usual chrome finish. And I have to say, it does blend in nicely with all the other blacks. It gives it a nice seamless look. And then if you look closely inside that front grille, you can see your special Black Edition badging. It's pretty tiny, but it's there. Now moving to the headlights. Starting from the Touring trim level and up, you get fully LED headlights. As for the fog lights, they are standard on every trim level except the base trim level, which in this case will be the LX. Now moving to the side of this 2020 Honda Pilot Black Edition, another noticeable difference is that the chrome borders around the windows are also blacked out, and the same applies to that bottom trim near the wheels where it would usually be finished in chrome on non-Black Edition models. Then looking at the mirrors, they remain the same chrome trim that you would usually see on the non-Black Edition models. So that part hasn't been blacked out, but anyways, they do have a built-in blind spot monitoring system. Now that applies to all the trim levels except the LX. Now if you want power folding and auto dimming, you will have to opt for the top of the line Black Edition trim level or the Elite trim level, as those features are not available on any of the other trim levels of the Pilot. But now let's talk about those wheels. So on this Black Edition, they are fully blacked out, whereas on any of the other trim levels, they would obviously be finished in chrome. In terms of the size, they are 20 inches. Now the 20-inch wheels are only available on the Touring and Elite trim levels, and of course this Black Edition, but on every other trim level you get the smaller 18-inch alloy wheels. Now in terms of the drivetrain, you can option for all-wheel drive across every trim level, but on the Elite and the Black Edition trim levels, they are a standard option. Now if you want all-wheel drive on the lower trim levels, you will have to pay an extra $2,000 for that. Now as for the transmission of this 2020 Honda Pilot, the Touring, Elite, and Black Edition trim levels will have a 9-speed automatic transmission, whereas all the other trim levels will come with a 6-speed automatic transmission instead. Alright, so this is the rear of the 2020 Honda Pilot, and to be honest, it looks like a minivan at this particular angle. Not that that's a bad thing though, but I just thought I'd throw that in there, because the Pilot actually used to be very boxy until the 2016 refresh, much like the Nissan Pathfinder. But anyways, looking at those taillights, they are mostly LED across all trim levels, keyword mostly, not fully. And when you move to the bottom, you will find that blacked out bar. As far as the exhausts are concerned, they are not exposed on this Pilot. Now as for the tailgate, it is foot activated power lifting on the Touring, Elite, and of course the Black Edition trim levels. But once you do open the tailgate, you are going to find 16 cubic feet of space with the third row seats up. Fold them down and that'll expand to 47 cubic feet of space. So definitely adequate enough for all your belongings and very class competitive in terms of cargo area. Now let's talk about the engine. So under the hood of the 2020 Honda Pilot, you are going to find a 3.5 liter V6 engine making 280 horsepower with 262 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 in about 6.5 seconds, which is faster than most of its competitors. Now as for MPGs, this is where it gets kind of confusing because we're talking about 2 different transmissions and 2 different drivetrains. So with the 6-speed automatic transmission with front wheel drive, you're talking about 19 in the city, 27 on the highway, and 22 combined. But as for all-wheel drive with the 6-speed automatic transmission, you're looking at 18 in the city, 26 on the highway, and 21 combined. Now as for the 9-speed automatic transmission, for front-wheel drive, you're looking at 20 in the city, 27 on the highway, and 23 combined. And then as for all-wheel drive with the 9-speed automatic transmission, you're looking at 19 in the city, 26 on the highway, and 22 combined. Now because that's a lot of numbers and a lot of information, and you're probably not going to remember all of that, I have introduced my brand new editing style with this video. So hopefully it's a lot easier for you guys to interpret all the important information and stuff. But now, let's get to probably the most important parts of any vehicle, which is the interior. Alright, so this is the interior of the 2020 Honda Pilot Black Edition. It is pretty much unchanged from last year, but of course, this one being the Black Edition trim level will have its own unique styling. And of course, you only have one interior color option, which is black. However, you do get more color choices on all the other trim levels. But when you take a look around this interior, you're mostly going to find red stitching. Now this Black Edition being the highest trim level in the Pilot's lineup, it is definitely not skipping out on any of the top features. Now looking at the infotainment system, it is an 8-inch display, which is not the largest, but not the smallest either. It just falls straight in the middle, because some vehicles even offer 10-inch displays. Now this 8-inch display is standard on every trim level except the base LX, which has this kind of retro, old school looking 5-inch display. So it's definitely not as nice as this 8-inch display found in the higher trim levels of the Pilot. The quality is pretty grainy in comparison to this much nicer 8-inch display. Now let's talk about that shifter for a second. That is an electronic shifter, which you will only find in the higher end trim levels. Otherwise, you will just have a standard shifter. But when you do pop this thing into reverse, you will find a standard backup camera with active trajectory. Now in terms of the infotainment system, it is Honda's upgraded Honda Link system, which was updated for 2019. And overall, the graphics are very good. It is a very smooth and responsive 2-touch infotainment system. Now you also have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay standard on every trim level except the base LX, which again has this much smaller 5-inch retro read display, which honestly looks like a different type of display technology. So if connectivity is important to you, you definitely want to look away from the base trim level, as you are not going to find that whatsoever. Also, back to the center stack, I should mention that on the higher trim levels, you will find a DVD player, which is used to run this overhead entertainment system, as you can see right here, which again, you will only find this on the higher end trim levels. Now with this rear entertainment system, Honda gives you a remote and 2 wireless headphones. Now as far as the seats on every trim level except the base LX, you will find a 10-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar support. Now that's the driver's seat. As far as the passenger seat is concerned, it is also power adjusting. As far as your spacing, you are going to have a ton of legroom and headroom in this Pilot. Even the third row is pretty spacious, even with the second row seat all the way back. So in terms of space, it provides more than some of its competitors, such as the Nissan Pathfinder and the Toyota Highlander. So that pretty much sums up the interior of this 2020 Honda Pilot Black Edition. So if you're cross-shopping this Honda Pilot with something like a Toyota Highlander, Nissan Pathfinder, Kia Telluride, and the Hyundai Palisade, you really can't go wrong with the Pilot. It's got everything you could possibly ask for in a midsize SUV. You have passengers in the back. Your passengers are definitely gonna love having that overhead entertainment system on those long trips. But really, the Pilot focuses on bringing space and comfort. And it still does that very well, even for 2020. So again, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving me a like. Do not hesitate to leave a comment because I'll be happy to reply to any comments that you might have. If you want more videos like this, definitely let me know in the comments below because I will definitely do more videos like this. But more importantly, what do you guys think of the Honda Pilot? Would you consider it over the other biggest competitors of the mid-sized SUV market? But on a last note, thanks for watching.